ready? You got me running, you got me running, got me running. Shake it, shake it, shake it, baby. Raise your hands up, raise them up.
All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome. It is Thursday, the 18th of November, 2021, and is another episode of the Currency Call with Forex Trading Asia. And if you are on the live call right now, just past 11 a.m. GMT plus 8, welcome to the LCMS Traders Club members. And if you're watching this on YouTube and a little bit later in the day, feel free to subscribe to the LCMS Traders Club as well. We are welcoming new members, and there's been quite a lot of activity. Last night, if you did jump on the call live with the Wednesday night trade call, that was, I'd say, definitely informative. And we did get some scalping insights as well from Jin. So make sure you do watch the replay as well if you haven't already, because some really good insights into how to approach scalping were discussed as well. But just to get into today's episode, if you are brand new and watching this for the first time, just a quick introduction. We are on episode 422, and the currency call is conducted Monday to Friday, GMT plus 8, 11 a.m. And the currencies we analyze are as follows. So Monday, we kick off with Aussie and Kiwi. Tuesdays, the Euro. Wednesday, the pound. Thursday, yen and gold, and then CAD and crypto on Fridays. And in this currency call, we will go through the market economic updates. We'll discuss the data and what it all means as well for trading opportunities. We'll go into the key support and resistance levels with the pairs we discuss, and we'll also go into detail regarding trade ideas and, of course, much more too. And this currency call will be very beneficial to both the long-term investors and the short-term traders. And here we will go through what could move prices, the possible trade ideas, and we'll also highlight the potential targets and risks with how to structure your trade as well. A disclaimer here, any information shared during this session is not intended to be a trade recommendation. It is solely the opinion and views of the speaker. So please remember to do your own analysis prior to entering in any trades. And I do stress that that's quite important as well. And if you are in the LCMS Traders Club, make sure if you've got any questions, feel free to send a chart through, and we are happy to help out with analysis and going through the news as well. So just to kick things off, guys, I've got the US dollar index here just to discuss. And what I mentioned earlier this morning when I did my morning market update is that, the market had a bit of a breather last night, and we did see the US dollar pull back a little bit. It's an interesting point right now as well, just looking at the chart here with Samtrade on the 4-hour time frame. And frankly, I do still see a little more downside. There's a little bit of a bounce that occurred at the start of the week where we went down to the 95.3 level, but nothing major. And what I discussed yesterday was that just with, and what we are seeing, there isn't a lot of news. I will go through that as well after this, but even if we tread sideways or even slightly lower, before we head into the later stages of the day where we've got the US Open, and then I'd like to see what it does there. But we really could see the situation being a bit range bound now after we have seen a pretty significant movement to the upside as well. And the daily sort of says it all. I mean, the daily candle there is quite bearish. So would be reasonable to expect that we do have a bit of a pullback. And just going now into the news with Forex Trading Asia, just to go through what happened yesterday as well. And if you are doing the poll, make sure that follow the prompts to get into the Forex Briefcase Managed Account service too as well. I'll send a link through in the chat. But so for yesterday, so Wednesday night, it was really mainly other countries with news out that we were watching. We had the Canadian CPI out, but building permits did come in, but it was a little conflicted. We had the housing starts as well. And the thing with this data is that there's so much demand and so little supply that you'll have little months where they might have got a shipment in of something, and it's sort of hard to read, honestly. And the US dollar really didn't sort of go either way. It just sort of floated around and was, offering more shorter term opportunities, like we said with the euro and the pound last night, to go long, but it was more shorter term focused. It's difficult to buy into dips on a downtrend. It's sort of a little more difficult to do that. So not something that was high probability as well. And we did have a few FOMC members speaking as well very early this morning. Now, we do have FOMC member Bostic speaking. We've got the initial jobless claims. This is a weekly release, though, so not highly price sensitive. And then with the Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index for November, we do have an expectation of 24, a little bit higher than the previous month as well. But, going into Friday as well, just to see, it's again pretty quiet. So with the US dollar, it's how it's reacted has been, pretty unexpected, and it's dramatic how it's really shot off. So, allowing it just to settle now is my thought on this. And then what that might mean is that we just have to wait for the other pairs, like we discussed last night, to get up to resistance levels, and that could coincide with another move higher on the US dollar. So we're just in a bit of sit and wait mode here, because if you are looking for bigger trades in regards to pips, it's going to, something needs to sort of give either way here, whether we see this US dollar continue a little bit lower, hold sideways, then you've got to be a little bit more patient. But those are my thoughts there, guys, with the US dollar index as well. And there is a bit of activity in the chat. Any questions as well?
No, it's just me being annoying.
Third cup of coffee as well already. That's impressive, Jim. But so next up, guys, we do have Gimme as well. Just going through a trade idea and review of the Aussie dollar. And the link is posted up at the top of the chat there as well. So over to you now, Gimme.
All right. Thank you, Scott. Okay. As usual, a little bit of construction work going on around here. So if you guys can't really hear me well, yeah, just put in the chat and, I'll just repeat whatever pointers I have. All right. Okay. So jumping straight into the trade idea. This is a trade idea that I sent out on 12th of November. All right. Aussie dollar, Evergrande escaped yet another default. Okay, I think I did highlight something like the Evergrande saga thing. I think a few days after the Evergrande actually made payment to their bondholders. All right. So the motivation behind this trade idea is pretty straightforward. All right. So earlier this month, the Australian Bureau of Statistics, okay, actually released a pretty bad jobs report. Okay, so there was actually a loss in the I think 46,300 jobs being lost, okay, for the month of October, as opposed to an expected increase, okay. Unemployment rate rose from 4.6 to 5.2%, okay. So yeah, rather bad data. And that actually led to some weakening of the Australian dollar, okay. So that's one thing. The second thing being Evergrande. Yes, no doubt they have, managed to once again escape the fate of default, all right, when he actually made a last-minute bond payment, okay, to their bond holders, okay. But, all right, there's actually some, maybe at the moment it's not too major, all right. There's some investigation going on, okay. It was reported by this China's top banking regulator, okay, that they're actually investigating some relationship between Evergrande and some Chinese regional bank. Okay, not sure what's the whole investigation about. All right, if I have more details, I'll provide you guys with it. But any form of investigation at the moment is actually deemed to be negative for Evergrande. Okay, because we know that they're having troubles paying up interest and things like that. So there may be some investigation going on regarding, I don't know, some scams or maybe not scam, okay, maybe like some financial scandals or funds misappropriation and things like that, okay. But anyway, things like that are actually negative for Evergrande, okay. Hence, it's also negative for the Australian dollar, okay. No doubt, the Evergrande has actually managed to pay off once again, the debt. But this whole brinksmanship, okay, from Evergrande is, it's not fun, all right? It's not fun, okay? It's really creating a lot of uncertainty in the market, okay, when it comes to, especially the Chinese market, okay? So, when we have uncertainty, we will be seeing investors or market participants moving away from whichever assets is being involved, okay? In this case, indirectly involving the Australian dollar, okay? So, with all this biasness, all this dovish, all these bearish sentiments in mind, okay, for the Australian dollar, I was actually looking for a sell, okay? So I will just go straight into my chart, and you can see that there's this 0.73 key level, handle, psychological level, round figure level, whatever you want to call it, okay, over here. And I was actually waiting for it to break below this level, okay. So I think it was around the 16th, okay, 4 days after my this trade idea was being published, okay. It actually hit, oh no, not 4 days, sorry, I got it wrong. It's here. It's on the 17th, okay, 5 days. 5 days after the trade idea was being published, okay, this trade idea was being realized, okay. And we can see that at the moment, yes, it's in the money. No doubt, they have recently released a set of monetary policy meeting minutes, okay, which I personally feel that it was quite hawkish, okay, which is actually quite good. It actually sort of like provide the market with the details on why, the RBA, why we can actually be expecting interest rate hike to be the timeline for interest rate hike to be carried forward, okay, by the RBA, okay. So despite that being the case, okay, we still see the strengthening of Australian dollar that day to be just a brief one, okay, just for like a couple of hours, and then it just starts going down, okay. If you guys actually see the Australian dollar's chart against the other majors, all right. So that's why I highlighted that, things like that is probably going to be short-lived. The strength is probably going to be short-lived because there's still ongoing uncertainty coming from Evergrande saga, which directly impact on the Australian dollar, okay. And all this uncertainty will definitely add on more weighing of the weaknesses of Australian dollar, okay. So because of that, long-term view-wise, I'm still a little bearish on Australian dollar, okay. So this trade is based on a H4 time frame, and yep, once it triggers, my TP is around 0.712 level, okay. So if I were to change my chart to daily time frame, you can see that it's actually at the low of August, mid-August, I would say, okay. So at the moment, it's running well. As to whether the trade is still valid, yes, it is still valid, okay. I will leave it on. I don't think there's any major upcoming scheduled news, okay, coming from the Australia side and the US side, all right. So I think there's the FOMC minutes that's going to be released, but it's probably going to be like next week or something, okay. But anyway, okay, if there's any major news coming up and I feel that, it's better to close off the trade for, whatever profits that is currently running at, okay, then I will inform you guys in the Traders Club chat room, all right. So with that, that's all I have to share today, and I'll hand it back to Scott.
Thanks for that, Gimme, as well. And doesn't look like there are any questions either. Hopefully you're okay as well in the war zone. We didn't hear the sledgehammer stuff, guys, so before the call started, so it was better than what it was. Now, to kick things off next, we do have Jin here. We've got Thursday, and that means yen and gold as well. So a little bit going on to discuss as well. So over to you now, Jin.
Thanks for that, Scott. I haven't got the sound effect, but I'll have the background to be like Gimme, be like Gimme. All right, sitting in the construction site with the drilling happening there. So, well, I'm actually, while I'm on my third cup of coffee, we had a super live trading session last night. Those of you who did join us, put it in the chat. Get everyone else who didn't join to make sure they come in next Wednesday night. Good live trading session. We shared about the scalping methods. We shared some trade ideas and possible turning points. Talking about turning points, I'll just share with you the chart here first. Dollar index, right? We spoke about this last night. Dollar index at the so-called rejected on a daily time frame, rejected that 96 level, looking at a possible slight retrace at this point. What I think, and I'm showing you the H4 as well, I think that it should come back down to about that 95.50 level or 95.40 level before we might see a bounce back up again. So, this week, the theme seems to be flexibility. Remember, be a bit flexible with your approach. I think that we might see that turn back down before bounce back up. So don't go into the charts looking for that dollar strength only. It might be a time where you sit back and relax a little bit as we see that retrace before we might see that dollar strength come back into play. With that said, checking out the news here on forextradingasia.com economic calendars. On Thursday today, we had a lot of news early in the morning. But with the focus on the pound, on the yen pairs, on the US yen, the euro yen, and the pound yen, we did have some yen news, but you can see that with all that yen news, it doesn't really move the prices too much. And that is still driven predominantly by the dollar strength or temporary weakness. What you should also be looking at is that we've got a lot of news, but not big price movers at this point. Canadians, I'll tell you about that shortly, but we do tell you more on Friday tomorrow. And then as I scroll through, you can see I've scrolled through this quite quickly because there's not a lot of news to move prices. CPI number, inflationary number for yen, for the Japan, staying at a 0.1%. So Japan seems to be the only place where inflation hasn't run hot, it hasn't run out of control at this point. And traditionally, they don't run out of control as well. So inflation is still very low in Japan. With that, we have a lot of pound news as well. As I scroll through this, nothing really jumps out to highlight any big movements. What I'm looking for and what I want to actually highlight to you is next week, right? As we head towards the end of the week now, you can see that on Tuesday, we have a holiday in Japan. And then again, a lot of news. We might see some movements early in the week, but then as we head into Thursday, okay, we got Thanksgiving in the US. And then on Friday, we have Thanksgiving holiday as well. So what I would say now is that we are expecting some movements, possibly a retrace for today and tomorrow. Next week, we'll probably see a bit of a move back into some dollar strength, and then a lot of quietness as the US heads into that Thanksgiving mode, where they go on holiday and head into the Thanksgiving mode. So next week, volatility might be a little bit slower, might be a bit lower. Don't look into jumping into too many trades at that point. So what it could happen for the US yen, I anticipate the last time we spoke about it on Monday night with the Traders Club members, we were saying that it was going to shoot up towards that 114.45 level. Last night, we were saying that it was going to reject that 115 and turn down. At this point right now, I think that we're possibly going to see it come and test this 113.83 level, or possibly even towards 113.50. I would be more interested to see it come down, test this support level as the dollar retraces, and then after that bounce back up. So what I would be doing for the US yen on the H4 time frame is to look for buying opportunities above 113.66, maybe a 20-30 pip stop loss for a good almost 80 pip take profit level towards that 114.45 level. You're looking at a 1:4 risk reward ratio towards the upside. But what you would have to do is wait for it to drop before looking for that buying opportunity. A lot more straightforward on the euro yen. The last time we spoke about this, we said that euro yen was going to break below 130.44. I think I shared that trade idea in the club platform as well. And it has. It's taken a whole week or almost a whole week for it to track down towards 129.13. At this level right now, I think that we might see it break slightly lower before bouncing back up again. Why do I think it'll break slightly lower? I think that move down could be dragged down by the US yen because we anticipate it's going to come down. So I think that euro yen will be dragged down by it, but I don't think that it will continue lower. I think it will bounce back up slightly. So test that 129.13 level because we are seeing the euro dollar bouncing back up. Those of you who were present last night might recall that I was saying that the euro dollar might come back up towards 1.1379 before we see that downside again. What I'm looking for now is for the euro dollar to move slightly higher, which would cause the euro yen to have the yen pulling it down, the euro dollar pushing it up. I anticipate that we're going to see it fluctuate in this support level for possibly the rest of this week, but we might see that turn down again towards 128 128 flat. Okay, so possibly not too much to trade here on the euro yen. On the pound yen, looks interesting. Pound yen, it's gone up. We were talking about this on Monday. We were saying that it was going to track upwards towards 153.74. I'm looking very keenly for this to break below that point, to break below that 153.74. Look for selling opportunities, maybe about 153.42. Stop loss 50, 60 pips. Take profit level 100, and I think 100 will be fair. 150 or 180 would be very optimistic. So you could put your take profit at about 180 pips with about 100 to decide whether it's going to go further or whether to close up your trade. So a bit of a closely managed trade idea here for the pound yen, but this could have quite a good trade opportunity. And then lucky last, looking at gold. Gold, last time I spoke about it, I said it was going to go up and test 1896. It's gone very close, but it's sitting right across. I think what we're going to see here on gold is a consolidation at this point, right? As we head towards the end of the week, as we see the dollar retracing a little bit, I think we're going to see that sitting right across before popping upwards slightly, testing that 1896 level, same as what happened back in June, testing that level before we see that retrace or that reverse back down towards 1777. Again, the way I approach gold is to look for buying opportunities rather than to try and trade it for the short term. Bear in mind, I am looking at gold here on the daily time frame. With all of that said, we have a good trading opportunity on the US yen, looking for it to track down before bouncing back up. Nothing much on the euro yen, possibly something happening on the pound yen. We will be talking more about the US CAD tomorrow, but I'm super excited about how it's moving. We said it was going to come up, test that 1.2618, did that, said it was going to track down, did that, said it's going to come back up, test this level again. It's doing that right now. What could happen for the US CAD? I'll tell you more about that tomorrow. With that, I'll pass it back to you, Scott.
Thanks for that, Jin, as well. And guys, I'm just posting now into the correct discussion section in the LCMS Traders Club, just for the yen pairs as well, and also for gold. But make sure that if you're just jumping on the call, that you do watch the replay as well, just to catch the Aussie insights as well, and then the context about the timing of the trades as well for what's been talked about in the currency call too. So that does conclude things for today's episode. Make sure you get on tomorrow. We've got the CAD to discuss and also cryptocurrency too. So NZD, we'll discuss that in the NZD discussion group as well. There was just a question there too about the NZD CPI news. But that is it, guys. Thanks for joining us as well, and hope to see everyone tomorrow for CAD and crypto. Bye, everyone.